Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, pay attention, we are here, it's time to go through the most difficult exercise of the season, or at least for me. Why? Because we are here to do the tier list. Who will be, attenzione, in the disaster column? Who will be, and only one, in the MVP? In the disaster we have more than one, I can already anticipate you. It's super difficult, according to me, to do that kind of exercise. Why? Because I'm a Libra. I have difficulties to choose left or right. I have difficulties to say yes or no. So imagine if we have to judge an entire season. Because pay attention, we are not judging what is fresh there in our memory, the last 2-3 games. No. We go from Udinese Juve 0-3 to Juve Monza 2-0 with everything that happened in the meanwhile. So a lot of things to judge, and of course we'll also put Max Allegri in one of these columns. Don't forget, guys, before we start, maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe. We are missing 133 Juventini as we speak to reach our objective. That is 30,000 before the end of the month. We are nearly touching it. Depends on you. And I tell you, before we start, that's the last thing, and then we start, this is an exercise where I go with my feelings. Beppe is not 100% right. Never. What you think is maybe different as what I'm thinking, and that doesn't mean that you are wrong or that Beppe is right. It's something that we go with feelings, with what I thought about the season. So don't forget to comment and tell me if yes or no you think I did a good job at the end of this video, or you think that I was totally wrong. We start immediately with the first one. Mattia Perin, second goalkeeper of Juventus. He played the 5 games, the entirety of Coppa Italia, plus 2.5 games in Serie A. Guys, it's a luxury to have a goalkeeper like Perin. I put him in the column strong. That's what I think. Was not the best, not enough games played, but he was super essential in the Coppa Italia. I know that you will already start criticizing me because you are not really able to see that last column. So it is MVP, best, strong, average, not enough, bad, disaster. That last column is the non-applicable, all the players that played less than 5 games. So you are not missing a lot, so don't worry about that one. It is just that, and we will put the first player already, Paul Pogba, in that last column, not applicable because he played 2 games, even if, honestly, the season of Juventus changed the day that he has been tested positive, or at least that we received the reports, because that's the moment where Juventus season changed. Without Pogba and without the ability to go on the market, because transfer market, Mercato, was closed that season. So he would probably have deserved to be in that disaster column. But to be fair, every player less than 5 games, we put them in that column. And I want to do it also immediately with all the players, with Joseph Nongué. Joseph Nongué, that according to me should have done a bit more in training session to deserve more playing time. Also for him, 2 games, I believe, in Serie A, 1 game in Coppa Italia, not enough for Nongué. Jallo, dear, we put him also in non-applicable, only 16 minutes for him. Well, in these 16 minutes, he was able to show to all the Juventini of the world that Giuntoli probably was not wrong in anticipating Inter. But guys, if we are looking for a tier list, Thiago Jallo can't be put higher than non-applicable. There is another player that I want to put there, and it is Mattia De Sciglio. Mattia De Sciglio with, unfortunately, 45 minutes only in his entire season. And 45 minutes that were really a disaster. I remember against Lazio where we lose that game. Didn't play well. Max Allegri tried something. He put him in, and it's a real pity because he didn't do well. It's unfortunate for a guy that it's not his fault that unfortunately he was not able to recuperate. We were waiting for him for the month of January. We never saw him, so non-applicable, but also for him. I believe that if he could judge, he would put himself in the disaster column. Now that we did the players, we missed maybe one that played less than 5 games. It is Pinsoglio, that I want to put here in the first part here of the non-applicable. If I could, I would have put him in MVP. If we were correct, Pogba in disaster, Pinsoglio MVP. Why? Do you see how the people, the audience, the fans are reacting at every single touch of the ball of Pinsoglio in that last game? About Szczęsny, that was convinced that if we received a penalty against, well, probably Pinsoglio would have taken the penalty without any problem, keeping a clean sheet. Well, guys, he deserves. It's so important for the locker room, much more than the field, but super important. So he would have probably deserved that position. But anyway, we are correct, non-applicable because he played less than 5 games. And now the things are starting to be serious with Capitano Danilo. Capitano Danilo. Capitano Danilo. I have not been really kind with him this season. I put him in not enough. I put him in not enough for Capitano Danilo, that started actually quite well. He started well until I believe that Milan game, so 7-8 games of the season, and then he has been out for 6 games, where actually the defense took over without him and did quite well, even without him. He came back where the performance of Danilo totally dropped. Probably also because he's playing out of role on the left side, if that 3-man defense, penalized by a non-role or playing a role that is not his. But at the end, we are looking at what they delivered on the pitch. And Danilo, not enough. 8 games, fantastic, and then we saw a decline. I would have put him in bad if it was not for a fantastic Coppa Italia. He should not even have played that game because he was slightly injured. He comes back and he's doing a perfect Coppa Italia that is bringing us a trophy, and then continuing to play on that small injury. Also, Capitano, that is there, the first one. I wanted to put him in not enough, but we will also rank the players in the same column later. Kostić. Pippo Kostić. Well, according to me, that's the player, the first one out of more players that goes in that column. Disaster. Filip Kostić, 0 goals, 4 assists. He was the assist man of 22-23. I don't know what happened with Pippo Kostić. I don't know. The last 3 games, he didn't even play a single second. Final of Coppa Italia, the 2 last games with Paolo Montero, he didn't start the season. So he's actually doing a loop, not being there in the beginning of the season for the 2 first games with 0 minutes, and he's finishing with 0 minutes in the last games of the season. In the meanwhile, did we see a lot of Pippo Kostić? No. And especially if we know that a lot of times we conceded goals on that side, well, problematic Kostić. I personally didn't feel a super Juventino Kostić, not really involved in that season. So according to me, he deserves to be there in that column of disaster. We go with Rugani. Rugani, that I wanted to put in strong. A player that I told you already, when Danilo was out, he took his spot. Clean sheet on clean sheet on clean sheet. Performance of performance of performance. It is not a starter of Juventus. He's aware of it. But every single time that we are calling Rugani on the field, he's there, ready. He can play easily in a 4-man defense in the 2 roles of center back. He can play in a 3 on the right, in the middle, on the left side. So it's a player that has that ability. I'm happy that he continues until 2026. Probably we were harsh on him because of a salary that was too high, but also that will be cancelled because he's going with a lower salary for the future career of Juve. But I believe that he has been a real reliability. So strong column for him. Adrien Rabiot. Adrien Rabiot. I know that he is already a big controversial part. Let me put myself in big. Let me put my face on what and where I will put Adrien Rabiot. You know, I have a particular link with Adrien, a player that I really like. He was MVP last season in 22-23. This season, we are not blind. We know it. It was absolutely not the same. He was not able to reach the same amount of goals. He was not able to do the same amount of assists. He was not able to go every single game with the super performances. I put Adrien Rabiot in average column. Better than not enough to be strong column. Because if you're looking at that last part of the season, well, Adrien Rabiot also there, big decline. This time, for the very first time, he started to have a bit of these injuries that probably keep him back. If you're looking at that second part of the season, he has not been good. If we look at that second part of the season, probably he should have been in that not enough column. Or maybe even, who knows, bad, but that first part of the season, he was at a certain moment really, really good, and that performance in Coppa Italia. If that would have been the Rabiot of the entire season, probably he would have been in that best column. Average season for Adrien Rabiot. The next one, Milik. Where do we put Milik? in the not enough, guys. Not enough for Milik. Milik that, yes, was the king of Coppa Italia with 4 goals, so top scorer of that competition. But if you're looking in 5 games, it is 3 goals against Salernitana, 1, a crucial one, an important tap-in against Lazio that is sending us to the final. Not enough if we are looking at Serie A. It's a player that played a lot in terms of games. He played 32 games, but in terms of minutes, not enough. 2 minutes missing to have reached 900 minutes in Serie A. So it is not enough if we're looking at the goals of Milik in Serie A, 4. So 4 goals there, 4 goals in the other competition, 8 goals for a player that should have done better, especially in the moments that we needed Milik. For me, not enough. Should have been better, should have done more. It is what it is. Locatelli. We go with Manu Locatelli. And also there, you know how much love I have for Locatelli. So, you know, with these exercises, you love, you don't love, you do abstraction of emotions. You try to be as rational as possible. That's important to me when I'm doing that exercise. Well, I want to put him in the column, and now it's time also for you to comment, but I want to put him in the column bad Locatelli. Season 23-24 has been bad for Locatelli. There is that controversy about, but Spalletti didn't call him up. Was he right or was he wrong? The season of Locatelli, we have to be really honest with that, has been bad. A bad season for him, where I need to say, if we have to split it in 2. According to me, that first part that people easily forget, we had a strong Locatelli. Was not the best, was not MVP, but a strong Locatelli that sacrificed himself so much for the team. If we won a lot of games, was also thanks to the defensive work of Locatelli. Defensive, impeccable, really strong in that first part of the season. And then, of course, we were asking more to Locatelli, especially in terms of rebuild of the game, in terms of playing faster. The problem is that second part is arriving, and in that second part, Locatelli has been extremely bad. Some games even a disaster. With that pass accuracy that should be one of his strengths, boom, lowered a lot for Locatelli. He was not able at certain games to give the ball in the feet of his teammates. Big problem for Locatelli. I want to put him in bad. Guys, I don't put him in the column disaster, because that would not be, according to me, really objective, especially because in a big part of the season he has been really important for Juventus. He played game in, game out, game in, game out. Top 4, top 3, I believe, of most minutes played with Juventus. Probably also there, the fact that Max Allegri didn't find an alternative for him, asked him to play all the games, and probably he needed a bit of breath at certain moments, which he didn't receive. It's a pity, but we can't say that the season of Locatelli has been good. Next season, next coach, it will be the season where Locatelli will need to show us, or at least the people that believe in him, that he's the player that we were waiting for so long. Weston McKennie. That has been a real difficult exercise for me to put Weston McKennie, because I can tell you that up to really long in the season, Weston McKennie was, according to me, an MVP. An MVP, but at the end, I will put him in the column best. He is there on the podium, not the MVP. Why? Guys, can we speak about the stats of Weston McKennie? Hey, guys, 10 assists. Assist, man. He took over from Kostić the assist, so it went from the left side to the right side of the field. Weston McKennie, let's be honest, nobody believed that he would even have stayed at Juventus. Not even him. Not even his entourage when he came back from that loan on Leeds, to Leeds. He comes back, humble, work ethic, he's going and he's delivering. And that's super important as a mezzala, but also on the right side of the field, alternating a lot with Andrea Cambiaso. He did really well. He did extremely well. At a certain moment, it was impossible to think about football without Weston McKennie. That much he was crucial for the team. Then, injury at the shoulder. Then, voices about contract negotiation, where he's finishing that season in anonimato, a bit anonymous. We didn't find the Weston McKennie of 80% of the season, and that's probably that last part for X, Y, Z reason that doesn't give him that MVP spot. But guy, the season of Weston McKennie is the best that he ever did at Juventus. We go with Chiesa, the one that is in a big controversial part at the moment for the next coach. We speak about it every single day, so we don't speak about the future. We speak about season 23-24, where I want to put Federico Chiesa in average. Why? Because for a big part of the season, no. Let's put him in strong. I need to put him in strong. First part of the season, he started with the Turbo Chiesa, the one that we love the most, and he finished with a Turbo Chiesa, the one that we know that we love. In the middle part of the season, he disappears because he's not confident enough. He doesn't believe enough in himself that he's healthy. A lot of part of the season we saw with Federico Chiesa that was fighting against the opponents, but also fighting against the ghosts that were surrounding him, that were all around him. And the biggest one is the doubt ghost. The ghost that you are calling doubt. I doubt myself. I am not sure that I'm 100% back. I'm not sure that I can do what I did in the past. And I want to prove myself that I can do it. First to myself and then to the other. And a lot of time we saw it becoming a kind of not selfish player, but a player that was thinking about himself to convince him before what the team needed in certain moments of that game. A lot of time, micro injuries that kept him out of La Nazionale, that kept him out of Juventus, that was not able to continue playing with continuity 90 minutes, because when he was playing 2-3 games in a row, well, he dropped out for 1 or 2 games where we really needed at a certain moment. We had no strikers anymore. But I want to put him still in strong because we are speaking about the player that hit at the end of the season 10 goals. 10 goals for Federico Chiesa. I thought he could have done a bit more in terms of goals, but guys, strong for Chiesa, but I put him in the last part of the strong. Dusan, Dudu, Vlahović, also there. Where do I put Dusan Vlahović? I want to put him as well there in strong, before these guys here. Let's see if it will be his definite position or not, but strong there. Dusan Vlahović, that is a Dusan Vlahović in 2 parts. You have the 2023 part and the 2024 part, where I have been really critical on him in 2023, where I was not speaking that much about goal contribution, but also him, like, yes, they start with a turbo, and then it disappears. But it was the behavior that was annoying me. That was that constant going with annoyment, with nerves, that took him out of the games. And he was not doing the right movements, not the right work. And he was not able to keep himself into that game. In 2024, magic change. We see a total different man. A man that is much more mature, that is playing better, and by consequence, he's bagging goal. I believe between January, February, he's the one that is scoring goal after goal after goal. If we can speak about today, Juventus that qualified in Champions League, is also thanks to Dusan Vlahović. Really strong 2024, and if he can do, of course, he missed a few games in 2024 as well. The Inter game, the Lazio, some games where he went totally crazy, went out. If he can keep the level of 2024 for next year, I can tell you he's a bomber that can reach not 16, not 17, but 20, 25 goals easily. The next one in line, Moise Kean. Should have been a much more important season for Moise Kean. I put him in disaster. Guys, I have long thought about bad or disaster, because there were a few games, 3-4 games in the season where he was our best striker in terms of application, behavior, physicality. But guys, a scorer, a striker that ends the season with 0 goals, you need to put him there. Unluck, bad luck in certain games, yes, but you need to put him there. Probably a bit better than Kostić, but guys, this is what it is. Timo Weah. Not enough. Not enough for Timo Weah. It's a player where we saw glimpses in the tour in USA, in his country. He comes, we are expecting more immediately from him. Then you believe in that renaissance, in that fantastic goal against Salernitana in Coppa Italia, in that 6-1 victory of Juve. Disappears again. before starting to deliver really at the end of the season. His best game of the season was against Milan, Juve Milan or Milan Juve, I don't remember, where he's doing a fantastic game on the right side of the field. Not enough. Not enough. I was expecting, I'm not saying best, because I knew that it would not have been the phenomenon that people were maybe thinking about, but a bit better. I would personally give another chance to Weah. I would keep him one more year because I'm sure that he has a bit more potential than what we saw this season. Hans Nicolussi. Guys, I want to put him in average because he didn't play a lot. I think that he was one of the players that should have probably deserved to play a bit more, to receive a bit more. I think it was not that risky to play him in certain games instead of Locatelli. The guy has so much potential. Maybe he will leave on loan or he will be sold to another club playing with continuity. It's a fantastic person. He's a really great player. Oh, he's starting that Serie A, that Coppa Italia final from the first minute, and he's doing really well. Nicolussi, that's the position, average, that's where I want to put him. And then you have a Nicolo Fagioli that I want to put in the last part of not enough. I know that if we go towards the last two games, probably would have been MVP or not that far from MVP. But Nicolo Fagioli, don't forget that he's playing in total, if I'm not wrong, 8 games this season. Let me double check really fast. Nicolo Fagioli is playing indeed 8 games. 8 games this season, 6 in the beginning of the season. Then he has that stop because of himself, because of gamble. And then he comes back for the last 2 games of Serie A. The first 6 games of Fagioli, probably you will not remember, or maybe you need to refresh it. He was not good. Until there, he was in the column bad. It should have been the season. We didn't know why. Now we know, of course, why he didn't start well. Well, I put him in not enough because without that, probably it would have been the season of Nicolo Fagioli, especially if we showed us what he did in the last 2 games. Not enough. And it's a pity, because Pogba and Fagioli are decisive in what Juventus delivered this season. Szczęsny. Grande Szczęsny. Szczęsny, I put him in best. Played all the Serie A games except of 3. Didn't play in Coppa Italia. He saved us a lot of games. What a goalkeeper. What a man. Value man. Important. When you think it's over, Szczęsny is there. This season, I believe he had like 1 game where it was a total disaster. That Sassuolo game together with Gatti. But according to me, except of that game, and I take it. If it's 1, max 2 games per season where it's a flop, I take a goalkeeper like that for the rest of the season. Real reliability. Szczęsny there with the best. Andrea Cambiaso. Well, we put Andrea Cambiaso here in the middle of after McKennie and before Szczęsny, the revelation. The one that is coming from Bologna. I didn't believe that much in him. I thought it would have been a rotational player. And he said the same. He said, I never expected to play that much my first season at Juventus. So revelation for us, revelation for himself. A player that was able to play on the left, on the right, a bit behind, a bit up front. As a mezzala, he gave so much. Also him scoring. Guys, I went to 1 game only this season. It was Juve Verona. He's giving us the 96-minute goal. What an important moment for him. Then he continued to score in other games as well. A few assists for Andrea Cambiaso, but immediately also extending, showing the value. I think there is no other possibility to put him there on the podium next to McKennie and to our boy Szczęsny. Federico Gatti, where do we put Gatti? Well, Gatti, I want to put him in average. In average, here. Average here. For what? Because we saw a guy that in terms of goal contribution has been fantastic. Really, seriously, for a defender. Best defender in terms of goals. A guy that was always there in terms of motivation, love for the team, strong, played a lot as well in that 3-man defense, but defensively there is still that step that he needs to do more. Better than Danilo. There were some moments of the season where he doubted himself. That's a Sassuolo game, but let's not value a player on one game only. He was strong enough to come back from that disaster that he could have collapsed totally. I want to put him in there in average. Could have been better this season. And then we go towards the last defender. No, not the last one. Another defender, Gleison Bremer. Where do we put Gleison Bremer? Well, I will not keep the suspense much longer. We put him in MVP. An MVP, Gleison Bremer, has been the most consistent one. Played a lot, played so much. He played how much? Let me check if I wrote it down somewhere. Of course, I wrote it down and I lost the paper. Anyway, he played all the games of Serie A except of 2. He played all the games of Coppa Italia except of 1. He scored 3 goals. He has been impeccable. Was a bit a diesel in the first games of the season. Could accelerate it a bit better. Could have played a bit better. He needed time to find himself. Probably also because it's a really physical player. But I have a fantastic, beautiful memories of a Bremer that at certain moments was extremely big, huge, a wall. Impossible to go through him. According to me, MVP of this season. Fantastic Bremer in that 3-man defense. The big question mark, of course, will be next season. Will he be able to perform like he did this season in that 4-man defense? Well, we already saw a lot of time Juventus playing with 4 when Gatti was totally on the right side, where you had a Kostić that was going down on the left. He was playing in that 4-man defense. So I think he improved as well there. I'm super happy that he will play that Coppa Italia. We continue with Fagioli Miretti. Fagioli Miretti that I have put here in the column bad. There is so much potential in that kid. There is so much bad luck in that kid. How many posts did he touch? Too much. Way too much. The kid has something special. Probably not a player for Allegri. I'm convinced he will deliver, but he didn't. Let's be honest, he didn't. Not enough, and even bad in a lot of the games. It's a pity for him. What about Iling-Junior? Iling-Junior, the first part of the season, he was in the column bad, but I promoted him in not enough, which is a promotion from the middle of the season till the end, because I think that the guy improved a lot. He didn't receive a lot of playing time. I believe because of that drop also of Kostić of the entire season, probably he would have deserved a bit better and a bit more. But in the beginning of the season, when he received these chances in the beginning, he was not able to deliver. And then at a certain moment, the click. The click on I deliver also from the first moment. So I believe he grew a lot, but too late. Because of him, because of the coach, but too late. Too late and not enough to go towards the average. Not enough, but a guy also there with a lot of potential. It's a pity because I hoped, because last season he was in the strong category, I hope to see more from Iling-Junior. Anyway, the best of the not enough. We have 3 more players, and then we have Max Allegri, Alexandro, that said goodbye, super emotional. Guys, if I was emotional and I would have put him probably in average or not enough. No, it's not true. Alexandro was not good this season. I have put him in the bad column. It's a pity. Not enough for Alexandro, especially if we know that he was one of the players that we paid the most also this season. A lot of time we didn't play with him in a 4-man defense because he couldn't anymore. In the 3-man defense, did some games okay, but bad. It's a pity that we didn't see that Alexandro of the last game, because the last game he's doing well. He's playing well, he's scoring a goal, he's doing fantastically well, probably because he was free, because he wanted to show. It's a pity that we didn't see that Alexandro from the beginning of the season and also in the latest seasons. Kenan Yıldız, the little star, the one that next season we will be really harsh on him, because that first season is gone now and we are expecting a lot from Kenan Yıldız. Where did I put him? I put him in the best of the strongs, guys. Scored 2 goals in Serie A, 2 goals in Coppa Italia, waited a lot before receiving really a serious chance that arrived around the month of December, January. It's a player that when he has the ball, you stand up. You stand up because you know something will happen. He was at a certain moment in a not entertaining Juventus, was the one that was giving you this double tap, the triple tap in your chest because he was touching the ball, because you were reading his name. Young player, he did well. He didn't even go through the next gen, so immediately from under 19 Primavera, boom, first team. Strong. We go with Charlie Alcaraz that I want to put in not enough. I had a bit more expectation from Weah than from Alcaraz. That comes in January. Always difficult to enter in a team in January. We were waiting more. Then immediately that injury, unfortunately, that is taking away. You see that there is a reason why Giuntoli went for him. I understand the reason, but not enough. Not enough, and probably will go back, and we will not take him. Also because I believe his team is going to first division to Premier League. So who knows? Let's see the future of Alcaraz. And then we end with the last man. I didn't judge Cherry, Sekulov. They played really a few minutes. We go with the last man. Max Allegri. Last season, if you remember, I can't put him yet, so I will keep him here for a second. Last season, I have put Max Allegri in disaster. I analyzed the off-the-field topics. I analyzed the on-the-field. I've put him in disaster. A lot of time people, they went with Beppe. You love Allegri, you defend Allegri, and then we go to the fact I've put him in disaster. This season, people, you love Allegri, people, you hate Allegri, so I don't know anymore. I want to be really neutral on that one. I will show you immediately. I've put him here in the column bad. Bad Allegri, not disaster. Not disaster because at the end, Coppa Italia won with a masterclass, beating that Atalanta that a few days later is beating 3-0 Leverkusen. Masterclass, playing Iling-Junior, playing Nicolussi from the beginning of the game. He totally destroyed Gasperini in that game, and tactically masterclass. That first part of the season, according to me, he overachieved. 46 points with no mercato, with only the comeback on loan from Cambiaso and Weah. There was no relationship between him and Giuntoli, especially in that second part. The team collapsed, and that second part is even less than disaster, so even worse than disaster according to me, because he was not able to take that team back. After the Scudetto dream was over, he was not able to take that team back. Should have. This season, we don't see with Max Allegri a game plan. In his third season, there was no game plan, or at least no improvement in that game plan. They tried in the beginning of the season, and then when it was a bit shaky, they went back to the certainties that brought us at 46 points, fighting for a Scudetto with Inter, and then boom. Not a disaster, because you don't do 46 points in the first round if it's disaster. You don't win the Coppa Italia with that masterclass if it's a disaster. But then how it ended as well, you need to take it also into consideration. How it ended, whatever. We know everything. I want to put Max Allegri in the last part of bad. Nearly disaster, but I think it was better than last year. That last season, Max Allegri. And that's where we end. I show you again the picture. That's the full picture with the last column. Pinsoglio, MVP, of course. But then Pogba, non-J, Jalot, and De Sciglio, non-applicable. Then you have disaster class. Moise Kean, Filip Kostić, and all the other ones until MVP, that is Gleison Bremer. This is how I've chosen, how I close the season 23-24 for Juventus. If I need to put Juventus maybe as a team, where would I put a Juventus? I would put it in not enough. In the column not enough. Not enough because of that second part is not acceptable for a team as Juventus. That second part of the season is not enough for a team as Juventus. We can't accept that. We can't. It is just unacceptable. With all the reason in the world. Please, let me know where I judged too good, not enough, where you agree with me, where not. If you didn't, maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve. Ciao.